Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to this episode of BiblioTech On Air, BiblioTech's official podcast. I'm Rosanna.
I'm Ruby.
And I'm Roman.
And today we're going to be talking about our latest Libros and Libations book pick, Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. I'm trying to get through that with a good face, but...
I thought you were going to say latest and greatest, and I was going to
Latest and greatest.
No, absolutely not. Which you'll find out why. We have very thoughts on this book.
We have quite a few. Interested to hear what you all discussed last night. I wasn't able to attend, unfortunately, but I'm curious. It was a good conversation?
The conversation was interesting. For the most part, it seemed like the majority was not a fan of this book.
Okay.
We did have one person who enjoyed the book.
Can't wait to hear their thoughts.
But that's it. Yeah.
But that's
Quick summary about this book. There's two brothers, Ivan and Peter. Ivan's the younger brother. Peter's the older brother. They haven't been the closest, and they are kind of, I wouldn't say brought together, but like
they have a 10-year age difference between them.
They do.
Right?
Yeah, and their paths kind of begin to cross again because of the death of their father.
Correct. Spoiler. Yeah, right. It's like
Yeah,
page one.
right.
It's like
Does he
page
even play
one.
a big part? Okay, we'll get into it.
Okay.
We'll get into it.
All right, let's start. Let's start with this book. Okay, so the novel explores the complex and often strained relationship between brothers Peter and Ivan. How do their differing personalities and emotional needs shape the tensions and power dynamics between them? Obviously, a big thing is that they are 10 years apart. I mean, that alone, it's almost two different generations. So I don't know what you guys think about that.
I think, I don't know. I feel like I wanted more of an interaction between the both of them. I feel like we got each of them separately, and there was like some interactions between them, but I feel like I wanted more. Like, I don't know what their me and my siblings were 10 years apart. So I was like, I wish I could have kind of related to it in a sense, but I just was like, it's not there for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, give me a little bit more insight of the relationship so I can relate to it in some kind of way.
I feel like it was anticlimactic because of that. I really, morbid maybe, but I thought one of them was going to die. I think that would have made I don't know. Obviously, if one of them died, then the other one can't have a relationship with him. But I just feel like it would have added to this, the complexity of the whole situation they were going through. But I feel like you're right. There wasn't a whole lot of interaction between them. And it was just kind of like each of them kind of going through life, and they had problems. And I was
like they would just call each other on the phone and be like, oh, let's meet up for dinner. And then one would forget that dinner, and that was kind of it.
Yeah.
And then, so I don't know. I wish there was more of a relationship between them.
Which someone mentioned that at Libros last night, where they literally don't come together until like the middle of the book.
Yeah.
Which, funny enough, Intermezzo, middle, you know.
Yeah.
But but yeah, it was like they how can it be about the relationship if they haven't met up until now?
I was telling Rosanna, I was like, maybe I feel like this book would have been a little bit more different if that, because towards the end they kind of have a fight, a physical fight. I feel like that should have happened a little earlier on in the book. It's like the grief of the father. They're talking about their different upbringings and their different insights on him. So I was like, feel like bam, right there. Should have been the fight from the beginning, and then see how they can like recover from that fight and recover from their differences. I don't know. That's kind of what I was thinking that should have happened.
And Ivan would have knocked Peter out.
Yeah.
That's what should have happened.
Probably.
He's stronger. He's younger.
Do you think Ivan's neurodivergency like caused strain in the relationship?
Potentially, just because, you know, it's like, oh, well, he's already the baby. And, you know, with the neurodivergent aspect, he's going to need more care. There's going to be more attention placed onto him. And Peter being the older one, you know, already with the older sibling. You know, I have no experience. I'm an only child, so I'm just going based off of, you know. But, you know, with the only child... With the older sibling, you know, there's more of an expectation of, you know, you need to be responsible. You need to look after your sibling. So there's going to be some resentment there, I think. And we see how strained the relationship already is now.
I guess, yeah, that does make a big difference, being neurodivergent, because I feel like he's never maybe going to fully grasp that, like his brother's way of thinking.
Sure.
Because, you know, I was like me and my siblings are 10 years apart. So I'm like more aware. I'm like, yeah, y'all had a different upbringing than me, you know.
Right.
I understand that, so I can be more empathetic towards that. So I feel like Ivan probably won't get that understanding.
Yeah, I'm 20 years apart from my brother, and he has Asperger's, so like the social cues are different. So having that kind of relationship with him, 20 years is much more than 10 years, obviously, but it's hard. I'm old enough to be his dad, basically, and that communication just isn't there. So in some ways, I did kind of relate to these characters in the sense that I was the older brother. So it's like, it's definitely some strain. You do your best, and you're just never going to 100% be on the same page. It's just not going to happen. So, okay. So contrast Peter's relationships with Sylvia and Naomi. How does what he seeks and gets out of each relationship differ?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Annoying.
Okay. So obviously Peter was juggling two women, which I think Sylvia should have just left him. But so how does what he seeks and gets out of each relationship differ?
Oh, dude, I don't know. I was very upset with the way the women were written in this book. I was like trying
by a woman. I was like, come on, Sally Rooney.
I was trying so hard to understand like where this is going. And like, Sylvia, girl, I'm like, stand up.
Exactly.
You do not, because like the whole thing with Sylvia's side is that her and Peter were in a relationship for like 6 years or long term, but she was in a car crash. So then obviously that affected her physically. So she wasn't able to have more of a romantic relationship with Peter. So she was like, no, my life kind of is over after this accident. Like, you go and seek, those romantic relationships elsewhere, whatever, because I can't fulfill that for you. Which, I mean, I don't know. I get, but there's this one scene that enraged me, almost tore the book in half, when she was on the floor throwing up just from the pain, just in so much pain. Peter came over, popped her 2 Advils, and she was like, oh, let me please you. Like right after that, I was like, what is going on?
Like,
girl?
He needs to be by himself. He had no business being in any relationships, First of all, the power dynamic with Naomi, she's much younger than him. And I would say we talked about this at Libros. Me personally, I think it's much different when you're in your 30s dating someone in your 20s. Like, if you're in your 50s, 40s, 30s, you're a bit more established. You are more of an adult at that point.
Yeah.
But like, bro, she's like in college. She is broke as hell. And then you have Sylvia, who he's just like, if he really did love her, and I'm not saying every relationship's going to be like this, but even though she told him to like, go live your life, I feel like he should have still been there and been like, no, like, I really do love you. We can make this work. Relationship, it's not just going to be about like, the sexual satisfaction. Like, there's other aspects we can do. And the fact that he did not like,
Well, some people argue, when I was reading reviews, some people argue that that's what Sylvia wanted. Like, Sylvia was the one who broke off the relationship. Sylvia was the one that said when he came back to her and was like, I love you, just want to be with you. Sylvia was like, no, I don't want that. Which I kind of get. And like, because I get that there's a lot of unconventional relationships in this book, I feel like maybe, I don't know if that was like the main thing they wanted to be.
Yeah.
But I was like, in a polyamorous relationship, to me, like Sylvia, Naomi, and Peter kind of felt more like sister wives, where it's like the women are just like, oh, we're here for you, here for the man. So I was like, in a real, I don't know, I don't know. To me, polyamorous is more like everyone
there
comes
has to
together.
be conversation.
Exactly. I'm like, everyone is aware and is filled with so much love for one another, women with each other too, So I'm like, this relationship that they're having to me is more like sister wives. And I'm like, for me, that's not my cup of tea.
Which is valid.
I don't like that.
Polycules, there's different routes, it could be kind of like that, sister wives, or more of a conversation. But it feels like in this book, it just happened to make Peter happy. Like it didn't happen. Like there wasn't a conversation. It was just like, well, you learned absolutely nothing throughout this book,
Yeah.
Here's your reward. You get both. And it's like, how about y'all just date each other and leave Peter?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Peter should have just ended up alone.
Honestly, like him and the fact that he like, dogs on Ivan for like, oh, older woman? Ew. Like, bro, Ivan and Margaret are miles ahead. They're much more stable. You're just jealous. And that does come up later on in the book. But
yeah, so I kind of had a follow-up question to that, but like we've pretty much answered it. So do you think Peter can genuinely maintain relationships with both Naomi and Sylvia? And who would you pick for Peter? I think we all agree that neither of them should.
Neither of them.
Oh, 100%. I think he should end up with both. No, I'm kidding. God.
I'm kidding. God. He should have not ended up with both.
No.
I feel like if you're, I don't know, because Peter's like seems to me the type that will never be satisfied. So I'm like, he doesn't deserve these two women. I don't know. I see something different for him, and it's loneliness.
That he already has all these problems. He has addiction. You know, he drinks. He hates his job. He's addicted to pills. You throw in a friggin', you know, polyamorous relationship. Oh my goodness.
But wasn't it just another spoiled rich kid?
Yes.
Basically,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Like, I want everything. And
Exactly.
I deserve
Exactly.
And
everything.
he
never-
got
he's
everything
never
at the end of the
satisfied.
book.
Yeah.
He learned no lesson. My goodness.
It was
He wanted to kill himself.
He
For a little
should've.
bit.
because he didn't get two women. Oh my God, the world's so hard. He reminded me of Holden Caulfield from Catcher in the Rye, which worst book I ever read.
I know you have feelings about that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's kind of what it was for me. But okay, so was Ivan justified in blocking Peter after their fight? So you already talked about the fist fight that you wish would have happened sooner. So what did you think about the fight? Was he justified in blocking Peter after that?
I think so. I think I wish it went a little longer than after the fight, because I'm kind of one of those things that's like, if your family's toxic, you don't have to try your hardest to maintain that relationship, you know?
Sure.
I'm like, if it's not the best, then yes, just leave it, block it. So that's where I'm like, yeah, Ivan, if they literally got in a fist fight, that wasn't a good relationship. So you're fine, block him.
I agree. I would agree with you there. I'm the exact same way. Like, if you're trying to hold on to a relationship that's not as it is, we're talking about them being 10 years apart already.
Yeah.
There never was much of a relationship, and you're trying to hold on to something. I think he was more than justified in just being like, you know what, I don't need this. I'm not trying to salvage this relationship. So
Yeah. It's funny because at Libros, they were saying that maybe he shouldn't have gone the blocking route right away, just because I think the first fight, it was just the argument. It wasn't like the fist fight. And so that seemed a little bit extreme. Like,
okay,
definitely one of those, like, I get it. I get why he did it. But maybe blocking your family member right off the bat is a bit much. But the way I see it, I'm like, I think it reminds me of those Reddit posts, you know, like the "Am I the a-hole" and stuff, where it's like, you know, block your toxic family member or like dump him like right off the bat.
Sure.
I could see Ivan being justified in blocking just because he's younger and he doesn't have much of a relationship with Peter. And so with Peter immediately just like antagonizing him, like, he kind of doesn't need that. So
Correct.
I don't blame him for blocking him right off the bat.
I think there's different schools of thought on that, but truly, like,
Yeah, definitely.
I'm also the type that's like, you know, you're protecting your peace. What's wrong with
Yeah.
that? And if it is early on, maybe somebody else doesn't agree with it, and that's fine too. But like, that's how he handled it, and I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows if he's gonna keep him blocked too? Like, block him for a little bit, because he probably would assume like, oh, he's probably gonna blow up my phone right now, you know? So
Yeah, and it's not like he has other family members to be like, why'd you block him? Why'd you block him? You know, they both hate their mom. They don't talk to her.
Which I'm glad. I don't know if we have a question about the mom later on, but
don't.
I'm like, I liked that the mom respected
not.
that. She was really respectful of like both the relationships, where she was like, do you want me to let him know that we talked? Because I feel like I've seen these types of relationships before where they go to the mom and is like, this. And so the mom will be like, why would you do that to your brother? I don't know, like, be more involved. But this mom was very respectful, in my opinion.
The only sane person in this book, which was
like-
said last night too.
Yeah, where I was like, she actually was like, do you want me to just check on your brother, make sure he's okay, but you don't want him to know that you're the one who asked? Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Yeah, so I was like, yeah, kudos to you, mom.
Good mom.
Good mom.
We stand.
So why do you think their father's death didn't bring the brothers closer?
Because it doesn't have to. Like, you know, why? There's a saying, I can't remember what it is, but like, you know, a funeral is like a reunion, something like that. But I mean, if it was gonna take their father's death to like bring them back together, then is there really anything worth salvaging at that point? Like,
That's a good point.
you know, it's something that they should have done way before their dad died.
I think you're right there. I mean, maybe it brings them closer together at that moment for the day or two after, whatever, maybe the week. But then it's like, they're gonna, you know, Peter's gonna go back to what he does. Ivan's gonna go back to what he does, and then it's like, again, there wasn't much of a relationship to begin with anyway. So
And there's already that resentment, like from like who dad was closer with.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't have a conversation about that, then there's gonna be no reconciliation of their own brotherly relationship.
true. So how are the topics of grief, addiction, chronic pain, or not grief addiction? How are the topics of grief, addiction, chronic pain, and suicidal ideation handled? Obviously, this was another family dynamic book, very much Hanya type, you know, very deep, you know, 400, 500 pages worth. So how do you think that was handled? Do you think Sally Rooney treated it, I mean, it's a fictional book, but these characters seem quite real in terms of the world we see today and stuff. People go through a lot of things. So how do you think she handled that?
It's a doozy of a question.
I know. Well,
I'm trying to remember last night.
It's a hard one, but I mean, we mentioned the addiction. When I think of the addiction for Peter, I think of, like without the physical that he had with the women is like he was this lonely dude or whatever. He didn't get what he wanted. So it doesn't have to be addiction in terms of drugs, but even just whether it's for a relationship or for comfort in some way. I mean, there's, I don't know what you think about that. So.
I mean, the way the book was written is really well done. But when I was reading a lot of reviews, they're like, I love how she wrote grief and the way she did it. And I was like, I can't relate. That for some reason that didn't really click to me. I don't know. I didn't really see it. My personal opinion. I don't know if y'all saw anything different.
I mean, the book, even though the whole premise behind it is like the father's death, and like it really didn't feel like there was a lot of grieving in it. It didn't feel like we got to experience that with them because everyone grieves in their own way.
Yeah.
And like we did read another book about grieving earlier this year, Death Valley, and that was grieving for someone who was still alive. And granted, that was kind of wacky and a bit different, but we did experience that kind of grief. Meanwhile, here it's just like,
I didn't
Dad's
really
dead.
Exactly. I didn't really get that from this book.
And it could be because from like a men's perspective,
that's true.
There's always that expectation of like, oh, you need to get over it and move on. But even then, we didn't even have that dialogue.
Exactly.
I think the only real grief I saw from Peter was kind of at the beginning where he's talking to, I think it was Sylvia, and he was just kind of like, she was like, well, where have you been? Whatever. And he's just like, oh, my dad died. Like, that was kind of it. And I'm like, okay. Like, I mean, again, people handle grief differently. I've cried at funerals and stuff. And everybody, might have a different perspective on that. But I think it's okay to cry and stuff. And I just don't think there was any of that. It was just like about their lives and like their woes. And it's like, okay.
I mean, no, yeah, like going into this book, I was like, okay, this book is going to be about like from the men's perspective, like some different traumas and grief and things like that. So I was like getting ready. Like, I don't know. At first I was like, I had some biases. I was like, do I really want to read about this? But then I was like, throughout the book, I was expecting to understand and learn, I guess, like a lesson from them. But like, to me, I just didn't get that with any of the men characters in here.
Yeah, definitely.
I agree. Okay, so Intermezzo has been described as a chess book without much chess in it. Mind you, the cover has chess on it, right? So it says, discuss the significance of chess in the novel, both as a hobby/profession for Ivan and as a metaphor.
So funny enough, Bernice and myself at Libros, we both thought Intermezzo in terms of music.
Okay.
So that's what we thought because I really hadn't looked at the cover, so I didn't know it was about chess. But yeah,
sure.
We're both kind of like, we thought it was going to be like more music related, and turns out it's more chess related because, the chess move.
Correct.
So
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I was really dense while reading this book. I'm like, chess, yeah, he's a genius in it. So maybe it's showing like how he's just really good in that, but not good in like the social cues. Things like that going on in his life. I don't know.
Ivan was definitely, for him, it was a profession. Chess, I play chess. I love chess. And it's obviously it's a game of strategy.
Yeah.
So every character represented maybe more like a pawn. Nobody was quite a stronger piece. You move chesses on the board, right? And the idea is to take the other person's king. So to checkmate the other king, you don't actually take it. But I guess for me, it was more about like, their life strategy, what each one goes through and how their life moves like on a chessboard, right? And there's a million different ways for a chess game to flow, how it ends and stuff. So I guess it was just a way to say like everybody's perspective is different, everybody's experience, but again, it didn't have much chess in it. It's like, why do you market it as such? And you have that opening scene where Ivan's playing 10 tables at once of chess games, but then it's kind of like, that's kind of it.
I guess I can kind of see that where it's like Ivan is obviously really good at the physical actual game of chess. And maybe Peter was supposed to be a little bit more strategic in like life, playing life as like a chess game, being really strategic in the way he moves. But I feel like there wasn't really there. So maybe that should have been like elaborated a little bit more to bring in the whole theme of chess, where it's like Peter's like actually thinking like, I don't know, these relationships, or I don't know, you know what I mean? We're trying to go.
He didn't treat his queens like queens.
Exactly. He didn't treat his queens like, I don't know. I feel like he should have moved a little bit more strategically in his own personal life in order for the theme to make sense to me.
Like maybe think more about his moves before actually.
Well, that's true, and that's kind of, I guess, what the metaphor is, right? Because chess, you make one bad move, there's no takebacks, right? You get eaten or whatever, it's a bad move. That's it. You gotta move forward and play the game from there. So I guess it's just the metaphor for life. Right?
I guess, yeah. Because like, I mean, in the beginning, all these people were just making bad decisions, but I feel like in the end, everyone's just still kind of in the same position they were in the beginning. So
Intermezzo, middle.
Yeah,
just kind of stagnated, stayed in the middle. Which Aaron was the one that brought that up.
Oh,
which
really?
was a really interesting thing.
Okay, I can kind of see that.
Well, in chess, you dominate the middle of the board. That's the key, right? A lot of people don't play from the sides or the corners. So it's like you want to take the middle and dominate that. So I guess maybe the metaphor, the strategy was to
keep it the same.
Keep it there and just, I don't know.
Okay, I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
That makes me appreciate it a little bit more. I'm like, okay, that's what Sally Rooney didn't want. She didn't want there to be a plot. No, just kidding. She didn't want.
Well, I mean, yeah.
She just kind of left it as like, well, that's life, you know? Like everyone.
Well, then she should have called this life and put the game life on it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think I can appreciate that if that's like what she was trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So Intermezzo is a book about love and loss. What emotions did you feel as you read the novel? Did any of the stories make you cry? And by the stories, any of the stories of the characters, right? Personally, I the style we talked about. Well, actually, that's another question we have about the style. But like, I didn't love it. So the audio was kind of hard to keep up. You kind of had a genuine idea of who was, I guess, talking, but the narrator was the same throughout. Yes. And then when you read the physical, you don't know when the dialogue's happening. There's no quotations. There's nothing broken down to say that Peter's talking, Ivan's talking, Sylvia's talking. So I just think overall, like, I felt very confused. That's the emotion I would describe with this novel. I just was perplexed the entire time. I was like, I can't follow.
I was pretty confused at first too. I usually hate question marks. I mean, no, I usually hate the lack of quotation marks when people are talking. But I feel like, I think it was kind of I don't know. I feel like it would have made more sense if Ivan had like the quotation marks, because Ivan's storylines were more cohesive, easy to follow, and Peter's was way more chaotic.
Oh, like a narrative choice.
Yeah, like,
okay.
Because Peter's life is like obviously being way more chaotic than Ivan's.
Yeah.
So I'm like, maybe because I understood their lack of quotations for Peter's life, because I'm like, we didn't know if he was talking to someone or if this was his internal monologue.
Okay.
So I feel like if it was more of a distinction, like Ivan has quotation marks and Peter doesn't, I feel like that would have brought out a little bit more of the difference. But that's what I took it as.
I like that idea. Yeah, I feel like that would have worked well in this book. Myself, I was just annoyed reading this book. Like, everyone was just infuriating. Nothing made me cry about it except the fact that I couldn't finish it soon enough.
Nothing made me cry about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so hard to have sympathy for these characters. Yeah. Even Ivan, like, he's the more reasonable of the two brothers. And even then, there's still like moments of frustration where it's just like, bro.
But taking a look at ourselves, right? Like, being objective, right? Like, as humans, we're all flawed and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, can anybody, did you relate to anybody? Was there anybody that you were like, okay, like, maybe I was like that, or I could see how I would have maybe at that age made this choice or whatever. I don't know.
I was trying to. I don't know. Like, I was reading some reviews too, and there was this one review where it was a guy, he was talking about it, and he was like, I feel like everything on paper was meant for me to relate to some of these characters, but I couldn't. It wasn't there. So that's what I was trying to do. I was like trying to find some character that I can kind of relate into, and I'm like, maybe Margaret, she was great. Like, I don't think I have anything bad to say about her. She was pretty secure in herself and what she understands the relationship to be, you know? So I really liked her. Hated Sylvia. Could not, or Naomi was okay too. I'm like, yes, queen, take his money. So, but yeah, so Sylvia, I couldn't understand or reason with her at all.
I mean, I can kind of justify it in the fact that, like, she's still kind of looking down on herself for the accident. You know, that self-confidence isn't super there.
Yeah. And like that one scene I was talking about where she was on the floor dying and she was texting Peter like, just leave my medicine at the door. I'll get to them. It's fine. I was like, girl, how would that have happened?
And he texts back like, you sure about that?
Yeah, like she did not want to be an inconvenience at all.
Yeah.
You're on the floor dying without me?
So like, I feel like it's weird because we get the POVs of like even Margaret, Ivan, and I feel like I wanted to get a little bit more of a POV with Sylvia. Like, why was she so like insecure?
Yeah.
Why was she so feeling like an inconvenience to people? You know,
That's another thing that came up too. I believe it was Aaron who was saying it, that like we were getting what happened to Sylvia in like tiny tidbits instead of having like a full-on chapter early on, like to make it a bit more relatable.
Yeah.
Because it took so long to figure out like what exactly was happening to her, like what happened to her.
I think some of the characters, I think that's one of the critiques I have. Some of the characters were just underdeveloped. And
for sure.
For me, it's like, I get it. First of all, you don't want to have 20 characters and develop all of them. Like, some of them are just going to play, roles in the back, right?
Yeah.
But like in Sylvia's case, I think she should have had some more development.
Yeah, definitely.
I think some of these characters were just, other than being flawed, there were shortcomings, right, for each one. And again, that's just the writing style she chose. Going back to what you said, I think that would have, thinking of the neurodivergency of Ivan, like having the quotations for him and making that choice to have his in quotations, it would have kind of fallen in line with like, a lot of what ADHD and OCD is, but Peter's life being very chaotic. I think that would have made sense.
For sure. That would have been really cool.
Just editor, just go throw those in real quick. That'll change the whole theme of the book.
You should just rewrite the book yourself.
I'm just gonna add them in.
Next edition, do that. That would make a lot of sense. So, okay, so this one has a couple of questions, or 3 questions in one. So, what did you think of the ending of the novel? Did you think it ended on a hopeful note? And what do you think will happen to the characters and the relationships?
I did not like the way it ended. It kind of just ended. I wanted Peter to be sad and lonely forever.
Like
I wanted the girls to go off, have their own relationship with each other.
Exactly.
With his money, though.
With his money, yes.
There you go.
Exactly.
So it wasn't a happy ending for you then? At all?
I don't think so.
For any character?
I mean, Ivan and Margaret.
Okay.
I do like them. Hope everything continues going good for them.
Okay.
I liked them.
Yeah, like it seems like out of anything, they're going to be probably the successful relationship of this book. Because even with Ivan and Peter's own relationship, like we don't really get to see how like that Christmas dinner or whatever plays out.
Okay.
For all we know, it could be a repetition of like someone forgets or, someone doesn't reach out.
True.
And then, of course, going back to the polycule, I mean, that's not going to work out.
Exactly.
He is still too emotionally immature to handle that. Naomi's still young. She's going to go find something, different, maybe. Or, I mean, she could stay with him because of the money. I don't know. But I see just her not sticking around. And then eventually Sylvia might kind of go back to her. Once, like, Naomi's out of the picture, it might just be like, well, why are you still with me?
Yeah.
I don't see it working out for them.
Yeah. I don't either.
I agree. I think it's gonna end the way it should end. With Peter by himself. I don't know.
Yeah. Unless, he develops that relationship with Ivan, which in that case could bring out like a lot of positives, like, oh, well, let's, maybe now that I have this hopefully forming and stable relationship with my brother, I can kind of ditch some of these things that I'm using to get me through. But
True.
they should also focus on the relationship with their mom.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree. But I also think that at this point, like if they don't have a relationship at these ages, it's just not going to happen.
Yeah, without therapy at the very least.
Yeah. I told Laura in the office, I was like, Peter had a very woe is me attitude. That's just the way he's always going to be. But again, just the spoiled rich kid, and it's just kind of the way it is. But you're right. I think they should develop that relationship with their mom. She seemed the most stable. She had a solid foundation. So I would have liked to have known more about the dad, though. The reason I say it is because one of the questions I asked earlier was like, why didn't the father's death bring them closer together? But if the father, was totally different with the two, and how obviously 10 years again, going back to their age gap, but like, I don't know, I would have just been curious to see how that relationship was with each of them. I think that would have, for me, maybe explained their flaws a little more and why they weren't ever so close. I don't know. But again, maybe it just wasn't necessary in terms of the way she wanted to write this book. So, But okay, so what were your overall thoughts on the book? Did you like it or not? Would you recommend it? Would you even rate it? I went to Goodreads and I gave it 2 stars, not gonna lie.
Not gonna lie.
I love that you trashed it online.
I did. I was just there and I was like, I was writing as like somebody else though. This isn't Romeo. This is
alternate person.
As Rosanna.
As Rosanna.
From West. No. What were your overall thoughts on the book? Like it or not? Would you recommend it or not?
I don't know if I would recommend it. I mean, now talking about it, because at first when I was thinking about going into this recording, I was like, I can't imagine me having much to say about this book. Because when I was reading it, I was just kind of like, meh, that's it.
Yeah.
But now after talking about it, realizing I had a lot to say, and then hearing like everyone's perspectives as well, I'm like, okay, it was an enjoyable conversation. I didn't hate it.
Okay.
So maybe I would recommend it for like a book club so everyone can bash on it together if that is the way that it goes. It's fun.
Well, I came in here too and I was like, I don't have anything to say about this book.
Exactly, yeah.
But I will say this. It wasn't for me, okay? I'm not I don't like the books about family dynamics. Maybe that's just my own trauma coming out, self-conscious coming out. But I would say that if people enjoyed Normal People by Sally Rooney, which was arguably her most popular book, then yeah, I would say read this one because it's very similar in the theme and stuff. But if you're diving into her for the first time and this is your first read, that's going to be hard. It's just my opinion. I think it's going to be hard to get into her other novels.
It's funny you say that because Bernice, she loves Normal People.
Okay.
Like, she saw the show. She absolutely loved the book. And this one, she was just kind of like, it was so different. Like,
Really?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I was
A lot
not
of people
enjoying
say
it. It was
Okay.
hard to get into.
Yeah. So
And yeah, she loves Normal People.
Dang. Okay. So
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong there, but it would just be my opinion. Maybe try her other works first. Start with Normal People.
Yeah, start with
And then
then-
bash this one. So,
This one's a little refresher.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it?
I don't think I would. I was just, I can't. I
Yeah.
mean, y'all, it definitely brought up some good points to talk with you guys and at book club. But at the end of the day, it just, it wasn't a worthy read to me. Like even going back to Death Valley, like, we all kind of trashed that book for the most part. But there are enjoyable parts of
Sure.
it.
Yeah,
Like,
there
it at
was,
least built up to something
Yeah.
and then led to nothing. But it was still really fun to talk about and
Yeah.
get different, people's different perspectives on grief and,
Yeah.
how they saw it in compared to that book. Meanwhile, this one, it was just kind of like,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's it. I agree with you there. And even then, Death Valley had a really good conversation. Not that this one wasn't, but that one really sparked a lot more interest in
Yes.
in life and people's experiences versus this one's
Yeah.
just like, oh my God.
Especially about grief.
Yeah.
Like if grief was the main theme in this one, I feel like we barely talked about grief.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. So, okay. So what are you currently reading?
Oh, I'm going first. Okay. Well, I'm about to start Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab, and I've been super excited to read that one. It's basically kind of a sapphic vampire. Think Interview with the Vampire, like
Okay.
toxic sapphic vampires in a way.
Okay.
So I'm excited.
Nice.
Sounds good.
I started Babel because
Oh, nice.
I had it in my queue for the longest time especially after reading Calabasas.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, let me check more R.F. Kuang. So I finally have Babel. I just started page 1 reading it. So I'm excited. It's very long, so I know there's a journey waiting for me, but I'm excited to start that one.
I bet there's someone that we know who's going to be thrilled
I'm
that you're
gonna read
starting
it.
that.
Actually, other than the next book club read, which I'll mention right now, I'm actually not reading anything. I'm taking a small little break. I've watched a couple of movies though. I've watched all the Jurassic Parks or Jurassic Worlds as well. So I watched Jurassic World Rebirth on Peacock the other day. Just a bad movie.
Is that the new one?
the newest
recent
one? Yeah, with Scarlett Johansson and stuff.
Mm.
Dinosaurs cool,
Yeah,
but
it's
his
cool.
storyline was just kind of weak. And then I saw, I love foreign films from Norway, Finland, wherever, Germany, whatever. But there's this on Netflix. There's this film called Troll, and it's from Norway. It's Norwegian.
Mm.
I've heard of trolls.
Yeah, well, not trolls. It's just called Troll. It's like real life, not animation. Well, Troll 2 just dropped yesterday, and I had shown my sisters the movie, and they were like, "Hey, Troll 2's there." I was like, "Oh, that's right, I forgot." So I watched it last night. Amazing. Recommend it. So,
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like one of the rare instances where the sequel was like really well done.
I thought it was really well done. It's the character development is there, unlike Sally Rooney's books here, but it's pretty good.
Nice.
So, anyways, shameless plug there for
Shameless.
Netflix, but not sponsored, by the way.
But you should sponsor us.
Okay, but other than that, yeah, the next book club read is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. That's the next read. I don't have a synopsis, but it's basically from what I did read yesterday. It's like these two, I don't want to say they're youth, they're young adults. They're like game developers. And it's similar in the sense that there's like social dynamic, family dynamics involved, but they develop games. I think they started a company together. Don't quote me. but yeah, it's just the experience of them going through life together and just kind of navigating the waters of this game development world. I don't know. It just already started off more exciting than Sally Rooney's book. So.
Nice.
And it's your pick.
It is my pick.
Yeah.
So.
Good job,
Finally,
Ruby.
good pick, because my last two picks were not the best.
I didn't say that, Ruby.
I didn't. It's okay.
Don't go back to the tape.
Just don't go back to those episodes.
But yeah.
But yeah, cool. And that's going to be on January 5th, right? At
Correct.
Burleson Yard Garden.
Burleson Yard Garden, 6 p.m. And it'll be after the New Year. So if you haven't started book club with us, it's a good time.
Yes.
Exactly.
The
New Year
best
resolution.
time.
New Year resolution. I think it's a good book to start with. So let's see what the discussion looks like in a month. So
Yeah. Cool. All right. And make sure you check those out on cloudLibrary. And if you don't have a library card with us, I mean, we have to remind you every time, sign up in person at any one of our branches or go online at BiblioTech.org.
Yep.
awesome.
Cool. All right. Well, with that said, I think we'll end it here. If you feel like checking that out for some reason, it is on our resources. But with that said, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Rosanna.
I'm Ruby.
And I'm Romeo.
And we'll catch y'all on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.